Here with us now, retired air traffic controller David Riley and retired Navy and commercial pilot Matthew Whiz Buckley. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning, Anna.
Good morning, Anna.
Dave, given your background, when we look at these reductions expected over the next week, 10% ultimately, is that enough to keep people safe? And do you think we'll get to that 20% mark by the end of next week or if the shutdown continues?
I don't know what the administration has planned for the continued cancellation of flights, but this 10% reduction in flights is not really having a major impact on reducing the workload of controllers. The FAA already has mechanisms in place to slow down the traffic as it gets overloaded at airports and in different sectors. So there's really no need to add this cancellation idea other than to inconvenience the flying public. You're already dealing with an overworked workforce, an underpaid workforce. These controllers have been working excessive amounts of overtime since 2020 with the pandemic. And now, adding insult to injury, they're working without pay. That's the real problem. The TSA workers and the air traffic controllers and other federal employees that aren't being paid but being forced to work. That's what needs to be addressed to help with the shutdown. The controllers haven't gotten a pay increase contractually since 2009. They haven't even kept up with cost of living that continues to go up. So there's a lot of issues at here, and I don't think just canceling flights to podunk airports are going to really affect what's going on in this situation.
And when we talk about how exhausted they are, a lot of them are getting second, side hustles, second jobs, like driving an Uber or a DoorDash. Whiz, as I mentioned, these changes are affecting 40 airports. The FAA administrator says he's not aware of ever having to take measures like this in the last 35 years. I've talked to so many aviation experts. They say they've never seen anything like this. Talk to me about the scale of these cuts compared to what you've seen throughout your career.
Absolutely unprecedented. I mean, the secretary is right. Things are breaking, and they're going to get worse. I mean, when the federal government starts reducing capacity, mandatory capacity at airports, things start breaking. And David's right. These folks working without pay is an absolute disgrace, from United States Marines to ATC to TSA folks. Aviation is a self-cleaning oven. Whether you're in the cockpit, the tower, or an air traffic control center, you need to be at the top of your game. We're taught to compartmentalize, right, in aviation. If there are things wrong at home or in life, we have to put those things into little boxes, so to speak, and forget about them while we go to work. Well, that's almost impossible because we're human. And if you're worried about the mortgage or your child care or things like that, things might fall through the cracks. And these controllers show up to work 100% focused on safety, but they're human as well, too. It disgusts me that the people who put us into this government shutdown are still getting paid. It's an absolute disgrace, Anna, and I don't want to say it, but things are probably going to get worse.
You're not the first to say that on this show. And I have to say, I've talked to a few air traffic controllers who can't even pay for gas to get to work. That's where they are. And you're right. It's a disgrace. There was a former air traffic controller. His name is Jim Krieger. He joined me on Morning in America last Saturday. He talked to me about the chronic understaffing he's seen throughout decades of experience. Here's what he said.
The underlying problem really is chronic understaffing. I was in the FAA in air traffic for 33 years here in Chicago, and we were never staffed properly, ever, that I can remember. And that was a choice, apparently. Why they can't get enough people to do that job is beyond me. I think they can, but they're choosing not to. And that needs to stop.
Dave, you've also said controller resignations and retention are big issues. They have been for years now. What needs to be done to fix staffing long term?
Well, one, we got to get out of this shutdown and get training back at the academy in Oklahoma City spooled back up. And that just doesn't happen overnight. That takes time all in itself. You have to reschedule trainees to come in from wherever they're living and get back to work. Training to help out backfilling those controllers that are retiring, that are leaving the profession entirely. And the shutdown and the lack of getting paid has exacerbated that. You have controllers that are on the lower end of the pay scale that are like, wow, why would I continue to go through this and not be able to provide for my family when I can go do another job? It just really amplifies what's going on. And you are totally right. You have controllers that are working second jobs and spending a lot of time not resting and being on their A game when they go to work. I know a controller friend of mine I was talking to the other day, he's working 10 hours at the approach control, and then he's working 12 hours overnight as a security guard. Do the math, that's 22 hours. How's he gonna rest? You know, Whiz was on target when he was talking about, you know, not being fatigued and being able to go put things aside and get to work and safely do your job. They have an obligation to do that. And with the controllers calling out sick, they have to do that. You know, if you are not fit for duty, you have to tell your supervisor, hey, I am not feeling well today because I haven't been rested, and I got to take the day off. So there's a lot of factors, but the chronic understaffing has been an ongoing problem, and it's only being exacerbated by what's going on with the shutdown.
Whiz, Secretary Duffy told travelers this week, and you said this earlier too, it's going to get rough. As a former commercial airlines pilot, how could this all be affecting other airport staff, like pilots, flight attendants, who may now be worried that airports are understaffed? And of course, I'm going to keep bringing up safety.
Hannah, last time I checked, American Airlines, Delta, United, they're not nonprofits, right? So they look at the bottom line. So if you're the CEO and the government comes in and says, we just gutted, 10% of this or that, they start looking around, right? They look at Excel sheets. Do we need this many pilots? Do we need this many aircrew? I was furloughed from American Airlines, and we have a saying as airline pilots that they hire until they furlough, and then they furlough until they're forced to hire. They're never right on time. So what about the folks that work at the airport restaurants or the convenience stores? They're probably mid to lower income folks, and if their hours get cut, this is just going to be a hand grenade. And real quick, Honey, you did a great job covering the MD-11 crash. I 3-4 days ago, I said I was stunned that FedEx and UPS hadn't immediately grounded their fleet. You just reported they did, which is great. But that crash had nothing to do with air traffic control. But most of the flying public doesn't know that, do they? All they saw was a flaming ball of wreckage, an absolute horror. And they're going to associate that. Maybe God was sending us a message like, folks, grow up and open the government. Enough of this.
Well, hopefully that message will get to our lawmakers, because there's so many people struggling. I appreciate both of you this morning.
Amen.
David Riley and Matt Whiz Buckley. Thank you again, guys.